All right, welcome back. In the previous movie, we saw how to create an FK rig. Um, I've gone ahead and renamed all my joints to say FK, so I know what they are, and that's in turn named everything correctly. So the next step is creating the IK. IK is a little trickier, um, but we are going to do it. So for now, I'm just going to duplicate the chain that I already have. So we got two of those, and we're going to drag that one in there, and we're going to drag that in there, and then we're going to just grab our IK controls, and I think that's it. Shift P. Yep, that's what we need. That's our IK controls, and I'm just going to, well, I'll change the names later, but for now, we're ready to start. All right, so IK is inverse kinematics. If in FK, what I'm doing is I'm going down the chain. This one's going to let me go up the chain when I want to move something. That means if I grab the controller at the end of the chain and move it, it's going to trickle down all the way upward. So to do that, we're going to use something called an IK handle, which will basically allow us to do that. So let's just go create one quickly. We will go to skeleton, and under IK, we're going to go to the IK handle and open the options. I'm just going to reset everything. So over here, basically, I'm not going to change any of these parameters other than the type of solver I'm going to use. Usually just a regular, by default, becomes a single chain solver. We want a rotate plane solver. This will allow us to control the elbow, and it's good for like knees or elbow type controls if you want to use them. And once we have that, I can close that. Let's just create it. So the way it works is basically you click the first joint and the last joint in the chain that you want to use, and that should create an IK handle. So I've clicked on the wrist, and as you can see, as I move along, it's doing what I want, but as you can see, my forearm is bending, and that's not what I want. I want to keep the forearm as straight as possible. Why? Because we don't have a joint in our forearms. Basically, in real life, we have two bones here. So what I'm going to need to do is kind of connect it here and then find a way to move the IK back to its original position. So I'm just going to delete this IK, and I'll choose the IK again, and instead of for the wrist, I'm just going to click on the forearm. Alright, so that's done that, and it looks fine. You will know that you're using the correct solver if you see this little triangle thing, because that's going to show you exactly where everything is. I am going to pull up my FK joint system because I need to see if things are going to misalign, because if they do, I'm going to have to fix it later. So I'm going to pull those joints up. I'm going to create a new tab, and just to make sure, I'm going to color them blue. Alright, so the blue ones are the FK. The FK. Is it the FK? Yeah. And let's make the red one. A red one is going to be, or yellow one, let's make it yellow, will be the IK. Alright, and I'll just change the shoulder name just so I don't get confused. And I'll change the names later. It's not a big issue. Alright, so basically if I start seeing red, that means that these are misaligned and it's going to cause a problem. Alright, so to basically move this handle, and let me just change the background color, it's easier to see it. Alright, and I did that by pressing Alt B, by the way. Alright, so I need to move this handle, but right now if I try to move it, I'm actually moving the entire chain, and I don't want to do that. So to fix that, I'm going to have to go down the chain, the IK chain, until I find something called an effector. So let's just rename this effector to IK arm, and the IK handle is just going to be called arm. And usually I put a left and right, but in this case there's no left and right, so I'm not going to bother. Alright, so the effector is what I want to use. So I'm going to press insert or hold down D, and then basically hold down V, which is snap to point, or go up here and press the snap to point button. And I'm going to snap, oops, and I'm going to snap to the wrist. I'm just going to drag it to the wrist. So there you go. And now we're going to test it out. So I'm going to just grab the IK handle and test out. And when I undo, everything should align. All right, cool. This is a good place to save. So I'm going to do so. File, save as. This will be version 3. Cool. All right. So now what I need to do is basically connect it up. So it's a very easy connection. We're going to use a point constraint, which will only constrain the translation on the IK. Because the way that IK works, it works with moving your translation. So that's what we want to do. So we're just going to use translation. And now this is very important. We are going to move our controller and then zero it out and see if anything is now misaligned. And if nothing's misaligned, then we're all good. Cool. Next, we now want to control the elbow. And for that, we're going to use the elbow controller and the IK. And we're going to use something called a pull vector, which will kind of connect between the two, and we'll be able to control that. So we're going to use the pull vector. And now if I grab this and move up and down, that's going to work. And again, I'm going to zero that out. And if nothing moves, I've done this right. Cool. So that's all sorted. The last thing I need to do is have control over the wrist. So I'm just going to hide my IK handle. So let's just group it. The IK handle, that's what I've grouped. And just call it IK. And we're just going to drag and drop the entire folder under ARM group. Alright, so now I can just easily grab the joint I want, and we'll use a orient constraint. It's all this icon here, or orient constraint. Now, very important with the orient or any of the constraints to make sure that maintain offset is turned on. Otherwise, things will not work properly. So, test everything out, move everything. Looks like it's moving properly. All right, so yeah, zero it out. Perfect. We're very happy with this. So with that being said, I think I'm done here. Next video, we'll start connecting everything up. So with that being said, and with a lot of joy and happiness, we created our second rig. Now all we got to do is connect everything up.